Yeah, hence.
I like it. You look very professional and lawyer, yeah. I look like a bum. I was like, man, you're really playing the part. I wore my jacket Tuesday.
I like I didn't really like I didn't more about what lawyers should do to be mindful rather than like
You told me about time.
I didn't know if we were supposed to like.
And I think you
like I don't have dialogue.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
And actually, I couldn't find any like thing for
I could try.
actual like witnesses. So I just made a bunch of bullet points like in each situation that I have in mind.
But this is, I think I remember reading something like what it's called, witness effect or something, where they could get all this pressure to embellish their story to sway one another.
I know.
Yours,
If we act something out, this kind of happy and annoying. Not only did she steal the car, she put wings on it and flew away. That's exactly what I saw.
Well, if I could put wings on something, I'd put it on myself. Flew myself where I needed to go.
To the store to learn how to hotwire or hotwire a car.
This day they always right out there.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you, some people can't do is reading.
I don't have that use of law. I love that section.
Oh.
It's like the second and it's so funny. I love it. It's so funny. Like, I remember reading one time. Expert called some weighing of the pieces.
I can
It's
like
like kids throwing frisbee or something. It's no big deal, but like they get it.
I can sleep
So
over
it's so
For some reason, planes get
You have to
down.
read it.
I can drive out.
It is so
Pretty
funny.
sniffing my nose if I can't sleep.
What's that time? What time is it?
We have 2 minutes.
Yeah, 2 to 3.
We were just arguing about how we just to figure out.
She's
gonna go steal my car.
All right, I guess. I can't take any of that today because I don't have anyone to drive me to school and I can't drive on it. Every morning when I wake up and it's wore off, I'm like,
So you live far away, you can't
no, we snapped a telephone pole in half. On my side of the car, of course. And I wasn't driving, so it wasn't my fault.
Windshield.
The airbags didn't deploy and my seatbelt didn't catch, so it threw me forward into the dash. I know, I thought about that later. Airbag might have been worse than hitting the dash, so. No. This is pretty bad right now. I have to go to a face doctor today. Yeah, because this bone is fractured in my face. So they said I have to go to a specialist and he has to tell me, like, look at my x-rays in my face and tell me, like, if it's going to heal on its own or if we're going to have to do something to it. But they said more than likely it'll just heal on its own. I have to miss any class and get code and that weekend. Okay with it now.
We're all the same.
You know, probably about it all the time and stuff. He didn't need to for that for sure.
Everybody was but it's still positive. Everybody was like,
Yeah, I had it about a week and then my boyfriend
I know,
the same one
like,
that slammed me into a telephone pole by accident.
No, her girl died.
Oh, I don't care about that.
Because maybe it's the edge of it right there.
Where's Grandma?
Where's Grandma?
I wonder if they have to place the screen on this. I don't know, because HP said it would be like maybe I'm grabbing ways.
Oh no. But I think about it. That's too early for your secret.
No, they took me to the hospital and did all the CT scans, MRIs, and X-rays, and everything came good. No.
Were you by yourself?
No, I was the passenger. My boyfriend overcorrected.
You didn't root there, right?
No, no airbags. That was a catch.
Seatbelt didn't catch. Where'd you get the dash?
And nothing happened to your eyes?
No.
That's good.
As far as I know, I haven't been to an eye doctor yet. As far as I know, my left eye's fine.
Okay, so this is this first. Well,
12, 16. 16.
What are you?
26:30.
Again, before we start the class, we're sorry to hear that you got to car accident. Tina, very impressed with you. So, this is getting you.
I think so. I have to go to the doctor today to see.
That way you back. Okay, so you know, in our life sometimes there's a bad day, a good day, nice moments. So what we say, prepare for the worst and hope for the best, right? Okay, so it's life. This one's life more. Sometimes we have great times with our parents, we are around with someone. It's not easy. But, you know, the times we encounter some difficulties, the thing about difficulties would not last forever. We will overcome that. And vice versa, when we enjoy the moment of our life, but remember, it won't last long. So, as much we recognize us, we will not have much. Either way. Alright, so, you ready for the trial? Who you judge? You're a judge, right?
Judge, yes.
Okay, so let me go over again this system briefly. Here, the system. So, who have attended the court before? Have you done jury duty before? Who done that jury duty? No?
I never got chosen.
Really? Oh.
Like I went down for selection and didn't get selected before, so that was fun. Go back to work.
Yeah, of course. A couple of years when they got here, they sent me the north to attend the jury duty, and I wrote the letter with that I'm sorry, my mom, I couldn't judge people. That's weird. And they let me go. Oh, yeah. So it's not easy, right? And it's great that in Harrison County, Horn, they love you, so just based on my religious right, I don't to judge people when they speak about have to go and go the system. Anyway, so you attend. How good can you explain how the court runs with your witness? You guys all the experience?
It was like it was at school and it was just like a field trip, so it was just a real civil case, like a real boring day, really. It wasn't exciting or anything.
Okay.
So, you know, they call proceedings and they call witnesses, they call different people and they just take turns talking. And all I remember from it, I mean, I probably remember more about how court works from TV than I do from that experience.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if it is or not.
How about you?
Well, I went to my brother's case once, and so it was a civil case, I guess. I don't know. I guess there are lots of different types of court systems. So, yeah, I don't know what I guess the judge would first ask my brother to talk. I don't know if he asked him to talk first, but the lawyers would talk, and then they, let the defendant talk, and then the judge and the.
So who make decision? Who make final decision? The jury or the judge?
The judge, I think.
The civil.
Depends on the case.
Civil. Yeah. Yeah. The make a final decision.
Do we have pre-law program here?
They're trying
Law
to.
school? No.
No?
Well, I think they're trying to do a pre-law program, but right now we only have political science and things like that.
So we're not following that system yet, right? Okay, let's review. Can you see? Too blurry.
I
Can you
can
turn off the? Okay, it's better. It's better, right? Okay. So we have criminal cases and civil cases, and in the criminal cases, you have the prosecutor who prosecute the defendants, and in the civil case, we have the lawyer for both sides, defendants and the plaintiff. And this is the criminal cases, financial fraud, bank robbery, and so forth. Okay, so this one is criminal cases. And civil cases is mean for sewage and order, for discrimination, or so forth. This is the criminal cases. And civil cases are sued for civil rights violation. So people for laws, they call this therefore for United States. Discrimination, and so forth. So it's criminal cases. Okay. The car thief is the civil case, right? When you lost some properties, you sue that person, that's become civil.
I think it would be both. I think you would get, if you got arrested for car theft, you would get prosecuted as a criminal, and then there could be a civil case for, like, if the victim gets their car back, but it was in an impound, and there's a bunch of fees, then they'd have to go after the person who took the car for the fees, is my guess.
Anyway, so this is the play in the courtroom. The setting here, right? It's a normal setting of the court, right? So you sit in the middle. You sit in the middle. No, I'm kidding. Okay, that's the typical one. So the jury box there. Okay, and getting ready for the trial. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let's go back here. Yeah, in the civil. In civil case, party bring the lawsuit. We know the plaintiff, right? Okay, alright, so let's just go this one here. Okay, pre-trial. Criminal pre-trial. Let's see, within court. Yeah. So first they have this what called pre-trial. And this is the beginning of the pre-trial. The trial begin, and opening statement, especially from the plaintiff side or the lawyer, plaintiff side, and after that the what we call cross session, the evidence. So session. Opening statement, present prosecution, plaintiff evidence. So that's a procedure, and so this means the plaintiff or the lawyers present the case, present the evidence, and after that the defendants or his or her lawyer give evidence and question about evidence and so forth. And after that, they present, they make a closed argument, and final one is a jury verdict. And it's usually have about 12, right? true, isn't it? It will all depend on the case, right? Okay, anyway, so you ready?
No, I need to talk to my attorney.
Oh, go ahead.
For a few minutes.
Yeah, go ahead. Talk to your somebody I told you, okay? And who witness? You witness, right?
I'm the witness, yes.
Okay, you ready?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Okay, so make sure keep the prayer and what we call prayer and bias witness, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I was very mindful at the time
Okay.
that the crime occurred.
To get the
You, have you read some articles about how to be a mindful judge?
I couldn't find any articles about judges. I saw most of them were kind of about the lawyers. It
No,
seemed
here, I'll
like
show
it.
you here. Mindful judge. Yeah. Yeah. With mindfulness, what causes party of wisdom, compassion, and courage? And of course, impartial too. We have to study above the argument for both parties, right?
Mm-hmm.
Impartial, have the compassion, have the courage to determine which one is the strong point, right? Okay. Before we process, right? Before we process to the case, you talk to your lawyer.
Yeah, should I sit next to her?
Okay. Okay. Let me show you a short clip of this is. You know him, George. You may not know him, right? He was a famous. Let's see. A federal judge in Northern District of California. He used mindfulness for meditation. So before you process a case, you need to calm your mind. Yeah, let's just a few minutes. Just watch this.
This is the cases of the California prison system, putting you face to face with some really intractable social problems. And a lot of suffering. Do you find that your meditation practice helps you stay present with that?
I think it does, absolutely. I think it does. It centers me. I'm trying to get a word that describes it. It centers me. It calms me. It focuses me. And so I know sometimes on a tough day, I'm really not at wit's end, but let's say I have a series of hard hearings or a series of conferences with what a judge would call troublesome attorneys who are, it's going to be a tough time. They're fighting each other. They're never fighting me, but they're fighting each other, and things are going on. And when I know that's coming up, and it's been a tough day already, I will generally meditate. Not as long as I try to meditate at least 45 minutes, an hour if I have the luxury.
Okay, now, even you have not been judged before, but if your parents, sometimes you have to judge the children when they fight with each other, right? Oh, he's right, he's wrong, no, I'm right, and so forth, right? You're a judge at home too.
Yeah.
And at school, at work, sometimes if you're a supervisor, right? You have that experience? Sometimes, no?
No, I don't have to. I'm not in that role at work.
You
I delegate tasks and I test things. I'm more in charge of the work, not the people.
Okay, I see. How about you? When you deal with the students?
Yeah, we have, we start out with a roommate agreement, so everyone who lives in the apartment has to agree on some outline of something. And then if they don't follow that, or if there's conflict that arises, we have to go back in and have a roommate mediation to where we sit and listen to them both talk about it, and then we come up with a solution.
If you run a business,
That's great.
if you have employees, right? Sometimes they complain, you are unfair. You raise the salary for this person and not the other person. So you have to give the fair treatment to them. Otherwise, they say that you are unfair employee. How about at work? You deal with your coworkers. You sometimes even in your daily life, right? Sometimes you meet in video of your friends. Is that right? Sometimes you both of them or both parties are your friends. You could not let go of one party, but they try to pull you just their side. Is that right? It's happened.
Does it happen at the floor show?
Mediating between people? Yeah, it's fire.
Yeah, like what if it's your aunt and your grandma? Do you ever get pulled in the middle of that?
No, I usually make an excuse to leave until it's over. So I don't like to deal with it.
Stay out of that.
Yeah, it's scary.
Okay. How about work?
We're a fairly small business, to be honest. So we're kind of, usually we're in our own little areas, but like I said with us, each person has kind of their own idea for how things should go, so that in that way we don't communicate very well.
So you have to be fair in any circumstances. Right? So anyway, let us work on this kind of hypothetical draft. Okay. So you ready? How about no, not yet. Oh, you want to go talk? Okay.
I'm just gonna sit by her.
Yeah, sit by her. So you want to present the case first, or you want to present the case?
I defer to
Or you represent her, right? Go ahead.
She represents me.
Oh,
Yeah.
I represent.
yeah. Oh, you represent him.
She's the lawyer.
Oh, she a lawyer. Okay, I see. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Like I'm already stressed, so this is
Okay,
real. Like I'm like,
present the case.
yeah.
What happened then?
like I gotta, I should do that.
What happened?
My client, Christian Ryan French, was shopping in Kroger. He was buying soup for his ill son.
Okay.
And he left, after he was done Krogering, he left Kroger
Okay.
and noticed his car was gone. And he panicked, of course. I mean, it's a terrifying thing to walk out and have no car. So he calls the police and gives them the license plate number. They track down the car, and he realized that he mistakenly left his car unlocked with an extra key on the dash. But this was only because he was in desperate need for soup.
Okay. That's good.
So, yes, she did it.
Okay, you're
Terrible.
a lawyer, so how could you tell us?
Okay, I stand for my defender. Her name is Tabitha Short, and on this side, we have an evidence is yes, she didn't deny about stolen car, and with the support is because her grandma gets sick, and on her paycheck she got only $100, and on the way she tried to look for transportation, like the bus. But everybody knows the bus is very inconvenient. There's no way you can get to the hospital. It's just only 20 minutes. So that's the reason leads her go to have a purpose, like, okay, I want to sell the car is because her grandma's sick. So it doesn't mean she do that, want again her personal benefit. It's just because her grandma gets sick, so she have a good purpose, like, hey, it's just like, I want to borrow the car, but she gonna return it back. But at the time when she get to the hospital, she didn't have time to return it back yet. Yes, she gonna turn herself to police, like, hey, I just got the car, but it doesn't mean she gonna steal it. It's just like borrow it, but she didn't have time to come to the police first. But you already find out on my client, she stole the car. So that's a defender. The reason is because her grandma gets sick and force her to looking for a quick way to go to see her grandma. So it doesn't mean she want to gain a personal purpose, like money or something like exchange for the cost of money. It's just because, grandma gets sick. So instead of, get her, pay maybe, go to jail, maybe 3 months, like that. So think of that. No, I mean, instead of give her go to jail, so
She should call her witness, right?
No.
Okay.
In jail.
Okay. So you want to ask some question that you want to ask the witness? Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, so what happened?
Well, my husband does all the shopping. And so I get to sit in the car and read my books and people watch and whatnot. So I was sitting there and I saw Mr. French walk in and he looked like he was in a hurry but he didn't have anyone with him. And I noticed he didn't really take the time for, to make his car beep or anything. So he left. And about 5 minutes later, Tabitha comes along and she didn't have a grandma with her. So this is interesting. But she was just looking around and she looks over and she's like, leave it. She's like, you could see her kind of thinking, but not too long. And she gets in the car and she drives away. And so I didn't know what to do. So I just kind of waited for someone like him to come back and notice his car was gone.
At that point, why didn't you call the police?
I don't know. It was just so interesting. I realized I should call the police once I mentioned it.
So you better ask whether she recognized or not. You recognize the image or you recognize appearance.
So you confirm that it was Miss Tabitha.
Well, I mean, should I? Was she wearing a hood? Did I see that it was her? Are we going to make this more interesting or are we just going to go for it? More interesting. Someone about her size. But I didn't know if maybe he had a friend that was picking it up. Maybe he was going to work. He was in a hurry. You never know. That's why I didn't call the police. They covered my butt.
You want to ask her? You want to ask her the reason, the why?
Yeah, well, I think what I would say is, of course, we all have emergency situations. But, I mean, my grandmother's been sick. I'm sure your grandmother's been sick. Grandma's been sick, basically. But the thing is, it doesn't justify taking someone's property without asking. She could have called someone, or she could have found another way there rather than just taking a random car. I moved to get the lady.
You can ask her.
Therapy of some sort.
Well, does he need to make his statement first?
Yeah. No,
Does Christian need to make his statement first?
Oh yeah. You want to make a statement first?
Christian.
Yeah, you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're supposed to
How
say,
you
like,
feel?
what happened, you found her.
And how you
went out,
feel?
your car
You
went in.
angry and so forth.
You
How you
didn't talk
control
yet,
your anger?
Because then I have to call me.
Yeah.
So you go first.
Okay, so I was really upset that day because my son is really, really sick and he might not make it. And I really wanted to get him soup. So I ran to Kroger and I was in a hurry, so I ran inside and I didn't lock my car and I have a spare key that's in the cup holder. And so I ran in there, it was like, oh, it'll be 5 minutes. And then I came back out and it was gone and then I panicked. And so I called my friend to come get me and I called the police and everything that she said. I was angry, but now I want to know what's wrong with your grandma because I feel bad.
That's your now. No, I mean, that's your turn now.
Oh, my
Please,
turn.
yeah, just statement, yeah.
Okay, so my grandma got sick last week. She had a stroke, and it wasn't looking really good. And so I was trying to figure out how I was going to get to North Carolina. It's not 20 minutes away. To North Carolina to see my grandma, which is like a 6.5-hour drive. So I planned on using money from my paycheck, and I work at Kroger. And excuse me, I'm just choked up right now. So I was at work, and it had been a few days. I had talked to my dad, and he said my grandma was getting worse. And then he called me on my lunch and said that it was really bad, and I needed to get my bus ticket, come right now. And well, what happened was I had made a mistake on my checking account, and my bank balance was in the negative. And then when my paycheck went in, it took all my money for my bus ticket. So I was really distraught. I didn't know what to do. My dad didn't have the money to buy me a ticket, and he said she could die any day, so I was freaking out. I was just leaving work, and I was walking home, and I just walked through the parking lot, and I just saw a car was unlocked, and I just saw the key out of the corner of my eye. I wasn't really thinking about, what could happen, or the consequences, or Mr. French's feelings, or anything. I was just so worried that I wouldn't get to see my grandma might die, and I might not get to see her. So I just jumped in the car and headed for North Carolina.
So what do you feel when you jumped in the car?
I felt a little nervous, but I just jumped in the car and I thought, well, I have a full tank of gas. I'll make it all the way there, and then, maybe my dad can give me the gas money to bring it back, and maybe I can just bring it back to the Kroger parking lot and just leave it here, and maybe he won't mind, So I decided to make a run for it and try to see her. I just wasn't really thinking. I was so desperate and emotional. In the future, not in the present at all. For the record.
Do you have any further question for her? Can she justify without act?
You're bringing this grandma, Carrie. No, it's just dead.
I witness she died.
I guess
The judge is so insensitive.
I guess, have you stolen cars in the past? Because
No, I don't have a record. Never been arrested before. First time.
would I ask her questions? I would.
You can call her.
I don't know. I think I've heard.
to the stage.
I feel like
Yeah, there was-
closing argument.
We could do closing arguments.
It will. Close argument. Probably both you have to make a clear statement about the case.
You haven't had to do anything.
After cross section, after evidence, and you ask her if you want to ask her.
I don't know.
Okay. So you want to make a close statement about the case?
Well, what I would say is kind of what I said before, just that it's, I don't want to use the word crazy, but it's absurd. I mean, you can't just take someone else's car. It doesn't, whatever the circumstance is, I mean, we all heard, it's like a bleeding heart case to me. Like, we have to look at the facts. It's Christian's car. It's his property. Regardless of what's going on, you can't take someone else's property. You just can't do it unless you have their permission. That's just legal, so really we have to say. That's the law. But while we understand and appreciate her feelings, and I think maybe it helps you feel better knowing that at least it wasn't like Miss Wynn was saying, it wasn't for money or for some kind of, it wasn't for some terrible, diabolical thing. It was for a good cause, perhaps, but nonetheless, it doesn't, the cause is irrelevant, really. I mean, what matters is the facts of the situation, which are this car was.
So what you suggest her sentence?
Just maybe.
She's not the judge. She
No,
can't.
to suggest her, she can make a
I would suggest just community service, no jail time.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah. So what's your close statement?
I don't know.
What's your close statement?
So, yes, for my defender, she did wrong. And she know about her behavior is wrong, even if yet in any kind of situation, you shouldn't take anybody's property. And she do agree to do community service. So we offer like on the plaintiff, like how many hours she would like to do it, because she she never do anything wrong before anyway, and she accept this time about her action.
Okay, now we said the third. You listen to both party, you listen to the witness, and it's a turn to make statement. What they call deliberation, right?
I guess that's what it's called.
So, okay, so what's your decision?
Well, originally I would have sentenced some jail time, but since the plaintiff attorney doesn't want that, I think community service is more than fair. I would say. No, I'm going to say about 60 hours of community service that has to be completed within the next year.
Wow. Okay, great.
Yeah, that's my final.
Oh. Okay. Want to do one more time to get everyone involved? Right. Okay. So can you give another case? Okay. Let people. So we have times. There's another case here.
That's fine. 60 hours, like a whole year to do it.
Okay, now here, which one do you want to pick up the case? Which one do you like to pick up the case? Which one? Kidnapping? There's some special cases, right? The parents kidnap their own children, right?
Oh, yeah.
You see that? Okay. Which one is more? Which one do you think?
Which one do we want to do?
Do the next one. Which one do you like?
Firearm.
Violent, right? Oh, kidnapping, I think is better. Sometimes, right, children with one parents, right? Another parents that may not like to pay child support. So that's the case, right? I think so.
No violence.
Right. You like it? Let me see. We have 9 people now. Okay, can you make the paper before?
Oh, sure. So
we have now we need the jury too.
We're doing this right now.
we have right now. Okay.
So we have a judge, again, the defenders and lawyer, plaintiff and the lawyer, the witness and the jury, right? Okay, the rest are the jury.
And we're not, I mean, based on what I just saw, we're not trying to be mindful, are we? Like, in case. Oh, we are?
What's
The
that?
judge is mindful, and the
Yeah.
lawyers are mindful, and the witness may or may not have been mindful. I don't remember.
Yeah,
I wasn't. I was totally mindless.
This is that's what we want to implement, and especially the judge. You have to have compassion, right? We have
Compassion?
We want to act, so we want to act that out.
Is judges supposed to be compassionate?
Yes.
Otherwise, you give let's in her case, you give her the community work. But the other
I
one,
kind of think I'm more the judges like go by the law. And,
you go by law, yes.
and
But by
not
the case
as-
too.
like you can't really get caught in people's emotions. I
That's
need to
why.
be kind of above that.
That's the point. When what's mean compassion again? Not attached to decide. Impartial judgment. So with that kind of mind, may give them some sentence that may be appropriate for them, appropriate for their situations.
Mm-hmm.
That's what compassion is for. And for the lawyer, it's stressful.
It's stressful, yeah.
That's
That's what I read.
You have the pressure.
Like you inherit your client's stress, which is what I said. I'm not even a lawyer, but I was thinking about your car, and I even got stressed in this artificial environment.
Actually, it's still rare. I don't know. Have you seen the lawyers laughing in the courtroom? No. They're so
Unless they win.
Yeah, it's so serious.
I think like for some case, remember before, like like talk about look like kidnapping or something like parent abuse, you know. I remember one time, I think in Arizona, and I watched on CNN the talks about they tried to tell that lady have to stay in jail. I think about like all her life because she spanked her kid. I mean her child. I think 2 years old to the wall. I think everybody know it. Like she really abused the baby. And then on the defender for her, don't want her like they try to defend for her. The reason she abused the baby is because she have a mental problem. So that's why they try to take the case down instead of take all her life. They want to let her stay in jail. A reason like 15 years is because she have a mental problem. But on the other side, you know, like the government, the different lawyers said no, she don't have mental problem because when they do the test for her and they see she actually don't have anything about mental problem. She just like aggressive person. She just want to put her anger on the baby instead of her husband. It's really stressful a lot. Like how can you defend for a killer or something like that?
So you remember? Thank you. So you remember the O.J. Simpson? That's an emotional one, right? How many do you have now?
Well, I made 10 for everybody sitting. There's 3 jurors.
Okay.
And there's a witness for the defendant and a witness for the plaintiff.
That's good. That's involved.
Why always love
And if you can't read my writing, I'll just walk by and tell you what it says. It's hideous.
Is this one we call it juror?
Juror, yeah, juror.
What is that?
In the jury.
Oh.
Oh, we have 3. Oh,
I'm a prosecuting attorney.
The plaintiff?
I have no idea what I'm doing, but
Is it just
You plaintiff? Oh, really?
Witness for the plaintiff.
Okay, who is judge? Oh, wow. Okay. So who is lawyer? Who is lawyer for plaintiff?
Oh, wait.
The lawyer for plaintiff.
Who got lawyer for plaintiff? Somebody did.
prosecuting
Prosecuting.
attorney does it.
Who is that?
Her. Tina.
You? Okay. Yeah. Who's the lawyer for him?
Yeah.
Was
I'm the defendant.
defendants? And
Kidnapper.
where's the role?
Witness to.
Witness.
For him.
Okay.
What's your name again?
Nigel.
Nigel.
Who else? What's
I am the witness for the defendants.
witness for defendants? And what's your role?
Juror.
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 And you?
I'm
Oh.
the prosecuting.
Okay, so the case, you understand the case, right? So we have parents, right? One parent kidnapped a child, right?
It's a domestic partnership.
Domestic partnership.
And you have a child, and one of you kidnapped it, right? Got it.
Okay.
I know the gender. Was it a boy or a girl?
Okay, so you have to tell
Her. He
why
kidnapped her.
you kidnap the child.
Her.
Right? Okay. All right.
Should we sit by the people we don't really work with?
And you?
I'm a witness for.
Oh,
I'm
you
gonna
did it?
move over there.
I think the judge
Yeah.
should sit up there.
I don't want more time for Rachel.
Okay, tiếp theo what happened?
Okay,
So you
so-
ready? Okay. And you are?
Juror.
Oh, sure, that's good. So that's,
We should
you
move
have to
everyone
judge that.
I think we should all move to where it's more like a courtroom because this is kind of confusing to figure out who's who.
Yeah.
So like if the judge sits there and like the juror's over there,
Jurors here. Judge here.
and then you guys can sit in your respective or whatever.
Yeah. Jury over there.
always
Okay. And this is
Yeah.
good. Wow. Ready for the ceremony?
Give them whatever wins.
I'm gonna find if I have a computer. There's some court
So
reporting.
do you do?
Low budget
I'm
court.
not the mayor.
Yeah, do you want me to
I'm supposed to be timing.
Report your own opinion.
Okay, good. Go ahead. You talk first. And you are witness, right?
I'm a witness.
Witness. And okay, go ahead. And you are.
Witness.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh well, who starts? Prosecuting attorney.
I start.
I think you start. Well, tell her.
We don't know the story.
We don't know the story. He has to tell her what happened first.
Oh, okay.
Or you can call him to the stand and let him say what happened.
So you know the story, right?
No, we're making it up as we go.
We're still making the story.
So I was at a basketball game, and you kidnapped my kids while I went to go get popcorn.
Because you were for opposing teams, right? And you were fighting about it. Okay.
We're at the Louisville.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready? Ready to present the case? You're a lawyer, right?
Yes.
Okay, you ready to present the case? Yeah, go ahead.
Sure.
What's the case? What's the case about?
It's a kidnapping case.
Okay.
These two were in a domestic partnership, and they were at the U of L UK basketball game, and they were fighting over the score, and the defendant kidnapped their adopted daughter.
How old is the child? Girl or boy?
She is a girl.
How old?
She is 11.
Okay.
He kidnapped her and
When?
then took their car and left to go out of state to his mother's house and didn't tell anyone else that he kidnapped her.
Good. So now your turn to present the case.
Honorable Judge.
Wow.
What the plaintiff is leaving out is the fact that my client was speaking with his children at the UK U of L game, and his kids, his daughter, 11-year-old daughter Delilah, beautiful, bright green eyes. She told my client.
You talk with the judge, not the.
Honorable Judge.
Don't be nervous. Okay.
What the plaintiff attorney failed to mention is that my client was in fact fighting with his domestic partner in front of the children, unfortunately. However,
Maybe
I thought I saw another child with them at the time.
Thank you. Anyway, but we do need to focus just on Delilah, beautiful Delilah, and what she failed to mention, sorry, is that the plaintiff was verbally abusing the children during the fight at the UK U of L game, and my client did not feel that the children were safe in that environment and did what he felt he needed to do to protect his child. And that is all I have to say at this time.
Oh, good. Okay, so we need a witness, right? Okay, we need a witness from the plaintiff. Okay, you witness.
Yes. Okay, so I was there and I watched. I'm friends with both Nigel.
No, plaintiff.
Oh, plaintiff and defendant. I'm friends with both the plaintiff and the defendant. And I was there, and they were in an argument, and it was about the game. And I'm here to say that he did not verbally abuse his daughter. He just told her to be quiet and stay out of their argument because she was trying to get an argument. And he didn't say it in the nicest tone, but he didn't call her names or mistreat her in any way. And it was inappropriate for the defendant to take Delilah and not tell him, plaintiff, where they were going because he was extremely worried because he didn't know they left and he was just a mess. He was so worried that something would happen. Nobody was answering the phone. He didn't know if they got in an accident or what happened. So, I think that he shouldn't have done that to him.
Okay, now the witness. Yeah, okay, now. You're a witness for the defendants.
Yeah. Yeah, I am actually a friend of both of these individuals.
and I was sitting maybe like one row down from them. I did hear arguing, definitely during the game. It's kind of hard to remember exactly what went on, but sorry, you're good.
So any justification for him to take away the child?
I mean, it was a tough call. I know that in the past, they have had instances like this before where they got into arguments that kind of raged out of control, and my personal judgment that it was right in those past situations for him to take away the child. So it's not like this was the first time that he had done it, and actually I think that it's for their safety, because honestly it's just been getting worse, this whole situation. Like it has been like
I'm sorry. Christian's over there like crying.
Yes, he has kidnapped. He didn't kidnap the kids. I'm saying that he took them away from the situation because of how bad it got, and I feel like he is in the better state of mind than the other individual here.
But one thing I forgot to mention, that who is in custody of the child? The dependents or the plaintiff? Probably the plaintiff, right? The plaintiff has custody on the child,
But
right?
it's an adoption, so it's
If
50-50 joint
joint
custody.
custody, then you can't kidnap your kid. If it's joint custody.
No, if you have a joint, yeah. So it's that's.
It's on the news all the time. People
Yeah,
are married and they have a
you can
child.
kidnap your
One
kid
of them
if
runs
it's
I
away.
mean,
joint
like if you're. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
If you
I
take
think
them,
if you
about it.
take them at the time to.
you don't tell the other parent that you're taking them and you just disappear, that could be
Okay, yeah,
kidnapping.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So we need to hear from you. What's the case about? What's happening? Why did you kidnap your child and so forth?
Well, we were at
the evidence. Yeah.
We were at the sports ball match, and the basket didn't go in right, and then we started to argue about that. And while he didn't call Delilah any names, it's more the inflection and tone is more damaging to the child than anything, really. So, and like the witness said, these fights have escalated before, so I wanted to take her somewhere safe before that happened.
So you mindful at that present moment when you took the child away? Okay. You calm or you angry that he abused verbally the child? That's why you took the child away?
I was more scared for the child.
Okay, so now how about you? You present your case.
Well, it's been a year since the children have been gone, so the child has been gone, and I've been very distraught. And I'm not verbal abusive. We go fishing all the time, me and Delilah. I mean, I really cared for you before, but now this is like the last straw.
Okay. Good. That's great. So now, and you talk. You need to talk to them. You need to talk to the jury.
Can everyone else hear me? Or is
No,
this private?
no. You talk to them privately. Yeah. I'll talk about the case.
And you're not even laughing.
I'll talk about the case. Okay.
Recess. Take a
looks like a judge.
Yeah, she does. She does look like a judge. She's Mr. College.
This has happened in every day, right? It happens, especially some parents, they have the custody on the child, and other parents, even they don't have the right, but they took away. And so that's right. That's right that you learn this kind of process.
It's not joking.
It's so funny.
The jury's joking.
For while waiting for them, the one that was not here last time, so you wrote some of this paper? Okay, that's okay, you don't need it. If you have time, you can talk. Okay, now, we need to listen to the juries. So you heard the case, you recognize the evidence, you recognize, you hear the witness and so forth. So you need to have a speaker for the jury, who is speaker for the jury groups. Okay, so what's your verdict?
Well, the judge, you have to ask him.
Jury,
have you reached a verdict?
No, not yet. So they met first, and you are the final one. So, yeah, go ahead.
We feel that in circumstances, this has happened several times before, that if they're not going, hold on. We feel that they should have mandatory, like, marital counseling. And then every week they would have to switch with the children. And then until counseling's over, and then a reevaluation case to see where they stand, if they still want to remain in a domestic relationship. And then we go from there on what we do with the child. So I think we decided a month or two of counseling, and then every week they switch.
How long? 1 year?
Ooh. 6 months.
Okay. Okay, now you're saying this is you are part of one.
Case 6.
Okay. Yeah. So you give them you summarize the whole case and give them the verdicts. Based and opinions about.
Thank you, members of the jury, for your valued opinion, and thank you everyone for presenting me this case. I think that it was clearly a lot of miscommunication going on, and that it could have been an act of jealousy at first, take the child and run away. But either way, I would agree with what the jury finds, that a mandatory marriage counseling for at least a year, and during that time you switch with the kid each week until the counseling is complete, and then you get reevaluated to see if you can retain custody of the child.
Thank you. Great.
There was not enough arguing in this case. That's not how mine goes. I'm sorry, but we get this far back at each other several more times. I have a whole argument written out here. And that's not okay.
I don't think the sentence is big. I don't want to be with him anymore. I don't want marriage counseling.
There's no way if he kidnapped the child for a year that they would go to marriage counseling. It's over.
It's over.
Okay, so what's the argument? Okay, the case is over. What's the argument to?
What's the argument? Well, first, your witness was sitting several rows away.
No, he said a row away.
That's still much further away than our witness.
It could have been right in front.
It doesn't matter. He also stated it's very hard to remember, so I'm sorry, but we can't because he said it is very, very hard to remember.
No witness has ever been 100%.
You can still not say that it's very, very hard to remember what happened. I'm sorry, but I cannot listen to what he has to say. She can perfectly remember what happened, and she was sitting much, much closer. She was sitting right next to me.
Anyone who can remember anything that happened that long ago.
He could barely remember anything. He only
a year ago. He said, "This is what I remember."
Besides
I'm
that,
unsure of the other stuff.
Besides what your witness said about it being very, very hard to remember anything, the defendant's obviously very emotionally reactive and impulsive, and he needs to handle the relationship problems in a less harmful way than taking the child away. The defendant and our witness have stated there's no verbal abuse, and it is not wrong to be a parent to your child and tell them to stay out of an argument. That clearly shows that he is more in tune with Delilah's emotions than this parent who just keeps tearing her away from her father. So I think that they don't need to go to marriage counseling because they are not going to get back together, but they should stay separated and they should have their own time with Delilah.
That's why you're a lawyer, not a judge.
Wow. I don't think any of us know anything about law, but I do know that witnesses can't say that you don't remember anything.
Well, I don't.
A peaceful agreement.
But that's not how court works.
Say that all the time.
Both
I'm
sides
not
have their good
100% sure.
He said I don't really remember
Because
anything.
by law,
You should not
I have
say
to
that.
swear. I have to swear that I tell the
You know
truth
what
and I'm
to
telling
say.
the exact truth. I don't know if your witness has told the exact truth since they claim to remember. Are you claiming that your witness knows everything?
It was a year ago.
No, but she didn't say that she can't hardly remember anything.
Well, I think I
You
know
didn't
the
say
truth.
can't hardly. You didn't say that, did you?
Yeah, he did.
Okay,
I said it's hard to remember exactly what went on.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah, go ahead.
I call this
Deliberation.
Thank you. We have two options for you guys. You can decide amongst yourselves. So we say that both plaintiff and the defendant go to jail. No, you shouldn't be arguing and whatnot.
I'm not.
It's
my job to argue.
Yeah.
The witnesses together will take care of the child, or our favorite uncle will take care of him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Or we could also close our eyes and you guys could just go ahead and
So,
you guys could just have a fist fight. That's fine.
so you satisfy the lawyer for the defense? Is you satisfied with that verdict, or you need to talk to your defenses to decide?
Well, we believe my
Yes.
client. I'm just going to say what my client wants. Okay, my client decides on the latter decision the jury has made because my client is most worried about the life of his dear beloved, the beloved Delilah.
We're in a wedding.
She's very much alive.
Oh, yeah.
And what he wants most is for her to be safe and happy, which is why he believes that if the relationship between him and his domestic partner is not going to work out, he will take the latter. And Uncle jokes be involved.
So you not yet. But you need to mediate first to see to find the common argument, the common agreement with both parties. Is that how?
So do you agree?
Or you want to argue more?
That decision.
Okay.
No,
Yes.
I appeal these decisions. He does not agree to go to jail, and he does not agree with the uncle taking custody of Delilah. He would rather than have joint custody and just be separated.
Well, until they're out.
What do you? Okay, can you be more
Well,
clear
we
about
also
the?
came to a revised. We've revised our decision yet again.
I request that the jury be clear about the.
Okay, so we won't decide on jail time. Even though the whole panel
It's
is
not very
for it.
mindful of the child.
it's not. Therefore, it's not healthy for her to stay in a household, nor is it good for us to trust either one of them right now. So until they're counseling and therapy, right? Is it?
They wanted to do that.
Oh, okay.
Well, we
so
can do
individual
therapy,
individual
management, things like
for
that. And the child
6
may need
months.
some therapy too.
Well, yes, but since it's always better to put a child with a family member than in foster care, if the favorite uncle agrees to take.
I love the bio.
Wonderful. He agrees. So therefore, they can have supervised visitation for 6 months during their therapy, and then after that we can reevaluate. We'll take it.
So you are really, you want to step out to have some kind of settlement before the judge decides. Cool.
We agree with that.
Good. Okay. How about your judge? Your final word is yeah. Okay. Okay.
No, I mean, obviously the child is the most important person in this case. So I would agree with the jury that both adults need to go to individual counseling since there is no desire to have a relationship, marriage counseling. We each have individual counseling for 1 year, not 6 months to see true change. And then after that year, to be evaluated every month by a state official psychologist to see what kind of visitation they have with their daughter.
So in meantime, who the child will stay with? Uncle. Oh, good. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. See, even with this rule, right?
You were a great lawyer.
Why can't we just choose a great lawyer?
Yeah, there's a motion, right? It's just the
Why can't we just say
the practice, but don't you see that this is go with a lot of emotions. If you are a judge, if you are a lawyer, plaintiff or defendant, even the witness, if you not control your emotion, if you're not mindful, you would say in a biased way, in either way, right? So so mindfulness is so important. But without that, sometimes that's why this is child have to go again and again. Okay, so you feel that, right? So how does what will happen to you when you have parents who kidnap the child from you? Okay, so we have only a few minutes. You done what's about?
I chose number 3, the one on ethical relationships.
Okay.
And I found the article that I read was found under the file for the legal profession, but I didn't really understand how it had to do with the legal profession. So I did how mindfulness affects ethics and relationships. And I read self-expansion as a mediator of relationship improvements in a mindfulness intervention. So some key aspects of this study that was done is that it was a pretty it's a pretty small study. I mean, in terms of how many people they had. There was also barely any diversity among the people involved. All of the couples involved were at about the same level of marital relationship happiness status. Like none of them were necessarily unhappy in their relationships, and none of them had ever practiced meditation or anything like it before. So they went into this study, and there were couples that were like the control group, and then them who were and what they had to do to see if there were improvements with mindfulness-based activities. They had to be involved in exciting activities, and the way that was described was an exciting activity has to either contain one of two components: newness, which is like discovering something together, learning something together, going to a concert they've never been to before, or it has to have a component of arousal, which is defined in this circumstance as something that has a high level of physical activity. So like playing a sport together, exercising together, hiking, things like that. I mean, obviously there are a lot more. And then, and so the exciting activity was one of the things that they did with the couples to see if that improved their relationship or caused more distress in their relationship. And then that's one of three. The second one was, it was like, I forget exactly how they defined it, but what they did was they had the couples sit together and meditate together, and like it was like they would meditate and like do yoga together, and something that involved like physical like touching, and it had to be where like one has to be responsible for the other's like movements during a yoga practice or something.
Something like partner yoga?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that.
Okay, yeah. And I don't know if they described it in a very different way, but it was like partner yoga. And then and it involved a few other aspects that weren't, it wasn't just partner yoga. And then the third part was individual relaxation, was like, so the individuals would do something that added to their relaxation. Another part of the second aspect of the study was that involved partner yoga was like meaningful stares, like they would stare at each other in the eyes, and I remember. I can just read it. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Let's see, there was a greater emphasis on loving kindness meditation with a particular focus on one's partner. Incorporation of partner versions of yoga posture exercises in which partners physically supported and facilitated one another in the performance of therapeutic, often pleasurable postures. And then another aspect was mindful touch exercises, with each partner paying close attention to the giving and receiving of a back rub or dyadic discussion of the implications of this for sensual intimacy. And then dyadic eye gazing. Exercise with partners, acknowledging and welcoming the deep down goodness in one another. So you're focusing on accepting the other person and and just focusing on their good qualities. And then application of mindfulness to relationships difficulties. And then the third part was individual relaxation, as I said. Okay, so model prepositions, expanding self, that was the number one. And expanding self is like an umbrella term that involves the exciting activities of the couple. 2 is acceptance of one partner, which involves the mindfulness, yoga, etc. And then 3 is individual relaxation, like I said. So the results suggest that improvements in relationship satisfaction were significantly and substantially mediated only by the exciting activities variable. It was exciting activities that accounted for nearly all these mediational effects. So the acceptance of one's partner and individual relaxation didn't show as much of a significant correlation between relationship happiness and acceptance of one's partner and individual, like those activities. However, they did show an improvement. It wasn't as significant as the exciting activities that the couples did together. That was much more significant in terms of the improvement that they saw afterward and during the intervention. So that was a really interesting article, and it talks more about why there wasn't as much of a significant increase with the activities that involve accepting one's partner and individual relaxation, and how you can also see how they would apply more in other circumstances, where they would increase relationship happiness in other circumstances, but just not the way this study was conducted.
Thank you. Let me ask you, have you ever hired any private lawyer to defend before? No? No? if someone sue you or you want, or you have any situation that you have to hire your lawyer yet? No?
I have to go to court next week.
You did?
Over this wreck.
What is that?
Over this accident over the past
really?
weekend. Yeah, because my fiance is in trouble over it because I got injured. So today, if the doctor says that my face is not healing, then he's going to be in trouble. So we have to really hope that they say that my face is healing. Otherwise, he'll be in trouble for reckless driving.
Even if he was the driver?
Even if I don't press charges. Yeah, I got questioned by the cops while I was in the hospital. They asked me like 100 questions. Obviously, I just had a head injury. I didn't know what to say. It was really, really frustrating. And yeah, so he'll get in trouble for reckless driving if the doctor today doesn't clear me and say that I'm good to go. Like if I have to come up for more follow-up visits, then it'll have to be brought up in court. And he might get in trouble for it. So
he was drinking?
No.
He was drunk?
No. No, he'll just get in trouble because of all the factors like the speeding. He was technically speeding. They ruled the wreck at 45, but the speed limit there, even though it's not posted on that road, it's in town, so the speed limit's technically 30 there. So, and then because we hit a telephone pole which belongs to the town, they have to replace that. So, and because we're not married, that's why he's in trouble. If we were married, it's like they're kind of like trying to press charges for me, basically, because we're not married and I'm the passenger in the car. If we were married, then it'd be different. But they asked me if I want to press charges, and I said, no, I don't want to press charges. It's an accident. And they're like basically trying to make me. It's really difficult. I'm hoping today the doctor says, no, your face is fine. It looks really bad, but it's fine. And then it'll all get dropped.
How about him? Did he get hurt?
No, he didn't get hurt in the accident because it hit on my side of the car. That's the only reason that I got hurt is because the pole smashed my door in, which threw me to the side. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been hurt either. It was just because the pole.
Okay, anyway, thank you. So anyway, this here, I thought out this is because time. Here we can do that for suffer from stress. They have minutes, right? They count per minute, they charge people per minute. It's so stressful if they make mistakes and if they finance them person. But high goal oriented, this is the trouble problem. That's the problem for them. They are driven by time. They tend to be judgmental. Good about it so far. Anyway, since time's up, so for you can drive, you can pick up a minute for, especially for today, paper you can write based on this question, or you can write the paper based on your role. Okay, the role that we make recently, it's up to you. You understand that? Like you may write a paper about how to be a mindful judge, a mindful lawyer, a mindful witness, and so forth, all based on this question. Okay, so next Monday, I want to do similar things but different. Let me see here. Now, on next Monday, we talk about the criminal justice. As means someone has been put in the jail. So you are a psychologist. You go there, okay? You go there to give them the advice how to have a calm mind, a peaceful life in the jail. So you can pick up the crimes that your clients have committed, okay? And you write a paper. You understand that?
Okay, so we're writing about how to help someone if we were a psychologist and someone's in jail and we just
in a mindful way, how they handle their emotion, how they handle their life in that cell with their crimes. You can pick any crimes.
Pick any crime we want.
Yeah.
And we're a psychologist.
You're a psychologist. You walk into that cell and talk to them and give them some advice, give them some models to follow, mindful models to follow, so that they could enjoy their, not enjoy, sorry. Peacefulness and mindfulness. Okay? Yes.